Yes, I almost forgot to set the title. Detective, detective. Alrighty, I think everything should be in order. Are things working the way they should? Or is my stuff set up properly? I have a fleeting feeling my headset isn't even aligned that great. But I guess we'll see, huh? Why isn't Oni? Hi there. What's this? Aviation, that boy. The Mix and JMX. The usual. My. Where is the camera? I could have sworn I set lens visibility to being solid, but I could be mistaken. Oh, it's by the chair. This works. Hi there, Vesper. I'm not sure if things are working properly. Hold on. Okay. Lip pucker. Right, there's a lower mouth open. Okay. There. Man, that's a lot of people. But yes. Good evening, chat. That's another night with yours truly. Unfortunately, we don't have the bat with us tonight. Let's just say she's busy. Freedom from ad jail. We all know how Twitch works. It runs off ads for revenue. They have to make money somehow. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There we go. Just enough side tone. Is this Among Us? No, it's not. Yeah, business and all that. Still doesn't make ads any less of an annoyance. To be fair, I am able to use their platform for free, so I'm not really one to complain. Wow, it's your first time chatting and your last, Mr. Fahim. Good afternoon, Preston. Man, that's a lot of people joining instantly. Okay. Oh, hi there. It's been a while. All these people. Let me double check if my pins are working properly. Stay put, chat. I said stay put. But my overlay has decided to move. Wow, okay, let's move it here. Put that there. Lock. Stay there. Good. Bro, what can you say? You're popular. Me? Popular? I don't think so. I'm known but not popular, bro. Any metric, in all honesty. Vesper says stay put, but I have to push a cart around for 5 I forget that you're actually working retail. What's this? Hello, yummy corn. Nameless is asking what time is it in my country. It is currently 3:19 a.m. It's still dark out. Collab with Voice Box. Voice Box? What was Voice Box? I'm not sure who you're talking about. Oni says working retail is the worst. Yes, it is currently 3:19 a.m. here, Memo. You know me, I always stream late. A night owl more than anything. I like working when the sun's down. Go sleep? How can I sleep when I've woken up just a couple of hours prior? How did you master that accent? Master the accent? How did you master your accent? If it's something that comes naturally, there is no mastering that needs to be done. You just speak your mind and, like me, have long pauses because I have to think of the next word to say without sounding like a fool or a dimwit. Oh, if it isn't Krim! Happy New Year to you, Krim. Krim says, ran into Wolfie last night in a public instance and made me think of you guys. I hope you're all doing well. A public instance? Wolfie? That's news to me. Vesper says, yes, retail. Definitely taking a hot shower after. Can't wear my boots to work, so the risk of having my ankle rolling are ever so present. I see. So you need the boots, the Doc Martens, because its soles are flat and stable. I understand now. I'm doing okay, Quan. I've been having this weird headache from the back of my head. I can't quite understand where it came from, but it's just something I gotta deal with. Are you standing? Most definitely am, SU. Oh, what do you know? A back shot. And a top shot. What are we gonna do, chat? I'm standing. Must be new. Must be strange to you guys. Sometimes a man's gotta be on his 2 feet in order to think clearly. Most especially once their companion isn't present. Hi Geb, I'm on Twitch. Oh, welcome to Twitch. I'm glad you could make it here. Can't help but wonder why is Geb standing, why not? It's good for the body, healthy. Keeps me moving. I want to pull the tail. Ang galing naman sabi ni Sonako. Ganun ba? Hunger. Hunger? What about hunger? Are you from New York? Asked Quan. No, I'm not. What makes you think I'm from New York? I'm from a country called the Philippines, Southeast Asia. Geb standing, what's the occasion? What, I can't? Fine, I go sit again. Geb gets to suffer with me. Mutual understanding. Can you do ASMR? Not right now. I don't have my my other microphone. Did you change your mic or am I schizo again? I am currently using my headset because I needed the wireless option, obviously. Mystic says, can one really call it suffering by standing up? No, that's true. I would rather actually stand up and be able to be mobile than, just sitting down. Come on, chat. It's not so different from the usual. Gamona says, Oh god, the voice. The voice, the voice. You know, to be fair, I actually have rather diminished audio quality. The recording shouldn't be as crisp as you guys know. House tour. There's nothing to tour, it's just a crummy old office. As you can see. Oops. No, as you cannot see. There we go. It's just me, chat. It's just me. No, I could have forget the floor height. Why the change of standing today, ask SU? I just felt like it, in all honesty. Miss Bicolana says, I'm watching from Kuwait. Ah, we have a fellow Filipina from the Middle East. Good luck working there. Krolo, wait lang ah. And to those of you wondering why I'm skipping most of your messages, that's because I have two windows that's scrolling really fast. I'm dealing with over 85 people on TikTok, and how many do I have in Twitch right now? There's 22. So over 100. Imagine giving an impromptu speech. You're in front of a podium, microphone in front. 200 eyes divided by 2 in front of you. Half of them asking questions, the other half making statements in hopes of getting your attention. What do you do? Savikun is asking, would you consider selling Gebos plushies? I wish I could, but unfortunately I can't. I am not licensed to sell any Nova Beast wares. You see, my species, the Nova Beast, isn't owned by me. The design, yes. I mean, like, of my persona, but like the base species, as I've said, it's Kitomatics. I don't think Kitomatic would be so keen with me making money out of the avatar that she's designed. Have you been to the USA or what? No, I haven't. I would buy a Geb plush so fast, says Oni. You know, I wish I actually could like make a body pillow. That would be fantastic. Hi there, Emma. Nice to see you here. Wow, that's loud. What is your favorite anime? There's too many to list. I honestly don't know. Hi there, Dingo. Zalan says you could always ask them. I know a guy that uses on his YouTube and earn money from it. Vesper says, but you could sell a plushie of the Shadow Monster, older Geb, but adorable nonetheless. That's true. That was one of my ideas, and then it would have the signature tie that, well, you guys could see. Proto John says, I know my FYP would lead me back to you. Welcome back. Beating shyness, it's the hardest thing. Yes, Natsu, yes, I'm Filipino. SC47 is asking, is Vesper going to be with us? If yes, will she also stand? No, she's not going to be joining us because she's working today. She's working retail. So it's just me. Also, hold on. Where is my playlist of? There we go. Me too, I'm Filipino. Well, congratulations. Momo says, boss, do you know what Digimon is? Parang ganon yung aura mo. Of course I know what Digimon is. Look. What did I watch from start to finish. That would be Digimon Tamers. Gilmon, right? And then, of course, Renamon. Ugh, my heavy eyes. Neon, you need to go to bed. Come on. Sleep. How's the weather there? Ask a curious Gabri. Luckily, right now, it's not raining. Rate their Pixion's art style. I remember following them on Twitter, so they must be pretty good. Vesper says, and even though I'm not on screen, I am standing. Retail is physical work. Take it easy. Are you standing or are you sitting? Yeah, here you go. I'm sitting awkwardly on the chair. Let's lay space. There we go. What? This is a bit weird, and Miss Emma, you can probably simply do the action of scrolling up and finding content that suits your preferences. You know, I need to get this fixed. This second camera of mine. Scrolling down. Well, swipe up to screw. It confuses me. Well, thank you for the correction, Marv. Does your goggles have X-ray vision on it? No. I kind of wish it did though. That'd be really cool. Where are you around the PH? Why does it matter? Are you gonna go skulk around my apartment? I want to tell you a riddle. Can you solve it? I will listen to your riddle, but I cannot guarantee a solution to your puzzle. It's 3:29 in the morning for me, so a shortcut. Well, it's 3:31 here. How does your tattoo glow? Ever heard of bioluminescence? Or is it more of phosphorescence? Sometimes the terminology confuses me. Mystic says, well, Gib, we're in the detective chair, not the other way around. Are we leading a case? Let's see. What am I dealing with right now? There is one minor case that I've been after. And curiously, the subject is myself. What is causing this strange headache that only occurs in certain angles? And then only hits one side of my head, creeping up from the back of my neck all the way to the middle of the top. That's a cluster headache. I have it, says Kakaruch. Is it something that's been... Oh, it has been lasting a few days. Makes sense. I did have some weird migraine attack a couple of days ago. It's when I was looking at the screen and then I couldn't decipher what I was seeing. It's like static but not at the same time. And then I had to rest my eyes like for an hour until I could like read stuff again. What's this? Hi there, fire baby. What's this? I can't read your name, but I can read your message. Well, welcome to Twitch and congratulations on getting a new computer. What's this? Gebus is probably eating glow sticks. How do you know that's my go-to snack when I'm stressed? Oh, if it isn't T. Billy, another one of my regulars here. Nice to see you, pal. Mystic says if you need to chill Cinnabon and... Cinnabon. To be fair, there's a place called Cinnabon here that sells cinnamon buns. or cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon bun and I can take the case. You know, it's funny. I have actually been cutting down on my time in VR the past 3 days. 48 hours, 72. I'm not sure if it's the device's clamping force on my head that's just exacerbating this looming threat of a migraine that I have, but I don't want to risk having a full-blown attack. Vesper says maybe eating glow sticks is why I'm so bright. I had one that lasted a week. Oh, is that why? So they'll go away in time. I shouldn't hit the painkillers as hard. I gotcha. Thanks for the advice, friend. You need sleep. Funny enough, I've been getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep every 24 hours, so I don't think I'm lacking in that department. Crassel's asking, could I get a big smile of yours before I leave? For you, pal, why not? It's entertaining how easy you guys are amused with the simple flash of my teeth. Marvy says you'd fit right into a Call of Duty Zombies map. Would I now? Hey. Emma says I'm getting my hair cut this Thursday and so I'm excited. Make sure it's from a reputable stylist and an even more reputable salon. How do you expect me to do that, Kakaruch? How am I supposed to give you a bean cam? Do I stand up? I just cross my legs and be done with it? Like this. There you go, chat. Enjoy the weird downward angle from where you are. Okay. Go on the floor. No, I'm not. Why is the picture quality so good? Well, I don't know. Emma says I'm getting a daily wolf cut. I bet you'd look super cool in it. SC47 comments. You said it yourself, your teeth are awesome and very clean. 100% I can attest to that. Nice and minty fresh. The music in the background is good. Good. Is this a strange angle, chat? Can I bring the camera down a teeny bit? Just like that. There you go, chat. A little better. Hi there, Levi. The door is open. Oh, I know. I support any community that fosters kindness and humanitarian empathy toward each other. But be kind to each other and then, yeah, support. Yeah, sure. In short, yes. Yes, I do. The extremists? No, not so much. My it's been more than a minute, chat. Getting your free bean cam, aren't you? What is your favorite perfume? You know, the funny thing is, I actually use baby cologne. Not because I think it's a fashionable thing. Simply because it's my favorite scent my late grandmother really loved. It reminds me of her and the good times we had. Though I do have the fancy perfumes for fancy events. Are you actually sitting? Yes, I am. Could I draw you? Asks. What's this? Melian? I call you Mel. Sure, Mel. Why not? I'm okay. I seem to be going through the middle of recovery from cluster headaches. Nasty things, really. Still here lurking as usual. Good. At least I know I got company. Vesper says headaches are some of the weirdest things. Random triggers. Certain conditions that you have to avoid them. And for me, the conditions are an unavoidable monthly thing. I wonder what triggered mine. Is it the food I ate or? Mystic says, keep it $1.50. You need to take it easy. Hypocritical of me, yes, but it shows very easy on you when something ain't right. Just like an open book that's very easy to read, aren't I, Mystic? Kakarut says, don't eat, headache. Okay, I eat a lot. Not enough sleep, headache. I sleep a lot. Not enough water, headache. I drink a lot of tea and water and mango juice. So I don't think I'm lacking any of those 3 things. Do you play chess? I know how to play it, but I do not seek matches. Man. It's only been 27 minutes since I started the live. Goodness me. Climbing up to 26, aren't we? Bootsy Tootsie, that is probably one of the most unique and catchy names I've seen as of late. Welcome to the stream. Vesper says, could be the caffeine in the tea if you aren't buying the caffeinated tea. Nah, it shouldn't. I haven't gotten any palpitations or anything of the like. So I should be good. I haven't drank coffee. I haven't imbibed in anything alcoholic. Oh. Bootsy is going. Question, how many trackers do you have and where? I have 10. My arms, my chest, my hip, my thighs, my ankles, and my feet. As you can see. Hello, Beans. Mystic says, yes, it does show. That's why I have a more serious locked-on gaze. Big sister instincts. Mystic's like, I know there's something wrong with you, Gabu. It must have cost a lot. Funny enough, it only cost me like $230 for everything. Thanks, Leonie. Why? Because I'm using slimes, and slimes are known for how cheap they are. But they work fantastic though. Really good. 230. That's what I said. The barrier for entry is actually pretty low. You don't have to pay a lot for hardware that just functions. What? It lasts a good 8-9 hours per charge, and then the batteries I can simply like hot swap them, and then, yeah, there.
Here's a couple bits for you, Bubs Crux.
And the first time chatter too. Hi there, Sanoket. You sound like you're an ancient Egyptian mummy. No, alien, based on your name, which is actually pretty cool. And thank you so much for the bitties. Much appreciated. I didn't know slime was that good. Me neither, until I saw it in person. I saw this Russian friend of mine using slimes, and then I said, like, hey, your tracking's really good. Hi there, Shopao. Good morning to you. Yes, I'm streaming on time today. Well, it's 31 minutes past. It's still on time. It's within the hour. Good thing I didn't go exploring just yet. That's true. What am I looking at here? So long day. Yeah, you could say that. Today I did a bunch of things. I did chores. Number one would be cleaning up my aquarium. Have you ever dealt with duckweed? You know, the little floating bits of plants on top that multiply like crazy. One day you have 100 pieces. The next day you have 1,000. It's crazy. So I had to pluck all that with a net. All of the stragglers, I had to get a tweezer and finally take them out one by one. I can't leave even a single leaf or else they're just gonna blow up again. Tiring. Really tiring. I don't have pet fish. Well, fish keeping is one of my hobbies. Majestic. A compliment I seem to be running into every now and then. Wouldn't majestic imply that I am grandeur or flamboyant? I don't think I'm neither. No music. Oh, there is. It's just on a really quiet track. Where is it? Oh, there's a new playlist. Hold on. What's this? Color me curious. Spy detective music. Oh my god, that's Casino Royale now. You again? What do you mean me again? Not my fault I appeared in your FYP. Vesper says, I got 8-point tracking for $170 with a discount. It's not expensive, and even if Geb helped me set mine up, the Slime server is also very helpful. Definitely too loud. We're not playing that. I thought it was like a gentler version. Let's go back to this. I think I know how to get his attention. Well, you have it now. What is it, Stolas? Are you a voice actor? Nah, I'm not. You know, this person in my chat deserves a quick investigation. 43 followers. Account since 2017. Not suspicious. Probably. Slime VR, that you are correct, this way. Vesper says gifts aren't how to get his attention. If you behave, be respectful, he'll pay attention. That's true. Listen to Vesper, chat. You definitely have potential to be a voice actor. Are you telling me my little gaming headset has good enough quality that it passes for it? Well, congratulations. I hope you have like an option to have a more feminine scalp for the robot. I would definitely want to have my robot made. You also have a good mic. Fantastic. I haven't used this headset in a long while on streams. I've used it maybe 1, 2, 4 times tops. Nice to meet you too, purple guy. Kakarot says, ask something stupid and that will definitely get his attention. Now don't you start with me. How am I doing? Well, aside from the looming migraine I have, which I doubt will attack, I should be okay on other accounts. Yes. Vesper says, every time I hear you speak, it's just an internal, holy hell, it's just the... I'm not gonna read that. Behave. Have you drank any water? You know, that's fair, I actually haven't. Maybe I should. When I'm thirsty. I can't understand you. Please transform, says A18. Transform what? A18. What did you have for dinner? Good question. I had some paneer, if any of you are familiar with it. It's cottage cheese prepared by the Indians. It goes great along with bell pepper, onions, and whatever curry sauce that they put, in which my innards will protest in a couple of hours. Worth it though. Mystic says, you're in a gaming pose. Have my tail standing on it. Like this. War's like, alright, tell me. So how exactly did this unfold again? So you're telling me somehow your car managed to end up inside the bank's vault and the money just magically fell into the bank. And you just somehow drove off without realizing any of that was within your vehicle. I'm supposed to believe that. That's robbery, that's true, Captain. I had garlic bread for dinner. Oh, do tell me you also had some spaghetti to go along with it. Nice toasted garlic bread. You know, the one with the fancy herbs on top to make it look appealing. Delicious. So it seems Mystic wants me in a more relaxed pose, just like this. So be it. The quality is so good, you look amazing. Welcome to 60 FPS streams, chat. It's actually a thing. Yeah, says I'm having that with garlic bread for dinner tomorrow, Gimp. Don't worry. Dinner alone or dinner with someone? Nice music in the background. Well, Lone Wolf, you know my taste if you have been hanging around my streams for a while. I like it jazz. I like it. Noir. That's a funny segue, Ali Good. Ali Good says, "Well, you have a watch. What time will you be at my place?" Funny. Mystic says, "Yes, because you need to. Don't let me catch you running rampant with no rest." Oh, I swear, if there's one thing I'm rich in, that's me lazing around in my bed the past few days. Hello, Leo. We meet again. Well, I love tacos too. Welcome to my Twitch stream. It's still in the morning for me. Well, it's almost 4 a.m. here. I see. Well, that's okay, Emma. Well, you look at that. Shade seems to be a little shy, hiding. It's almost 4 a.m. That's true. It's actually 3:55 a.m. my time. Plus 8 GMT. Yes, chat. I'm from the Philippines. Pag nagtatagalog to, parang K-movie sa Channel 7 na Tagalog dub. Ganun ba yan? I love your outfit or whatever you call it. Oh, this is most definitely clothing, that's for sure. What else is it supposed to be? Hello, Dark. Holy Furry. Hi there. I'm doing good. I saw you leave the Discord server. What happened? Think of it as more of an exit interview more than an accusation or anything of the like. Fabric that covers your body, aka clothing. What Vesper said. Kuya, I'm eating, ayusin mo. Alam mo ba yung mga Amerikano hindi naguhugas ng puwet? Nagtitissue lang sila. So pag umupo sila sa upuan, may mga brown powder. Go to bed, Azzy. Thanks, Dark. Tapos may hilig silang kumain ng puwet. Like, no. TikTok filter ba to? Hindi. No, Jace. No, it ain't. Kasi sa States, hindi uso yung bidet. Oh, sorry, chat. I was speaking in Tagalog to my Filipino viewers. I was telling them that how in the United States, apparently bidets aren't a thing. That's concerningly gross. Are you on PC? Where else would I be? I mean, yes, this is PC VR. The blues go great with the black. Thanks. I like keeping my color palette relatively simple. Emma goes, Geb, can you ask Vesper a question for me if she's there? Alright, go ahead. What's your question? Mystic asks, do you have an outfit or assets for every holiday? I don't think I do, because the only real thing I quote-unquote dressed for would be the Christmas thing that I had. I had my little Christmas tree and then I had my hat. Yes, the LA wildfire did happen based on news reports. Your graphics are so good. I like keeping things presentable. Emma asks Vesper, Vesper, do you find it attractive when Geb talks in his native language? You know, I'm curious too. What do you think, Vesper? Pretty much, tacos. Yeah. Jackal. Oh, I'm not a jackal. It sounds cool though, right? Ever heard of Detective Jackal? He's on the case. Fortunately, I don't have a cool alias such as Jackal. Your accent is so polite. I have to keep things TOS, do I not? Talk to me in your accent. Elevator. Diagonal. Chains OL. Yeah? Why luxurious? Luxurious? I'm just using a very practical watch. I don't have jewelry on me, aside from my little brooch denoting my guild. Nothing fancy here, Jonathan. I like things simple. I like things classy. And most of all, I like things functional. Whenever I see avatars or other people just dress up so much to the point that I don't know where to look, yeah, they need to look in the mirror and question their aesthetic choices. Real men dress simple. Real men dress effectively. Notice, when you watch me, there are 3 focal points. Your eyes will flit between my singular accessory, my watch, the exposure of my neck and the detail, and the movements around my face, my mouth, my eyes. Right? Hindi sinagot. What was your question, Jace? Okay. Emma, Vesper replies to your question. He's most definitely attractive no matter what. I don't mind if he's speaking English or Tagalog. I love being with him. There's your answer, Emma. A bit of a delayed response, says Vesper, since I was trying to get through customers. Ah, yes, working retail. Shade says, me who constantly stares at the goggles in the ears. I'm on the case. A suit is the best thing. A suit is a gentleman's armor. Zlan says hoodie and cargos and sweatpants. I would wear more of what you're wearing if my weather wasn't so darn hot and humid. Kingsman! Picked up a few notes, yes. Manners make it man. Zlan says it's negative 10 degrees here, so now it's cold. Here, I think it's 28 right now because it's the morning. It's relatively cold. Geb, kaboses mo si Clint sa ML. Ang bali nalaro ko yan dati, si Clint. Sobrang kupal ng slide flashbang. Tapos, yeah. It's cold right now in the Philippines. I beg to differ. I went outside earlier. 45 seconds and I'm sticky and icky. 1 second, chat. Where's my old? That looks like my jazz bar playlist got updated. Let's listen to the new additions. Mystic says, hoodie and skirt is my style when I'm not at work. Then it's baggy clothes and boots. Yes. Hey, you can always wear cozy clothes. Nothing wrong with that. Nice watch. It's a Nixie tube watch. I bet your watch is just as fancy. Vesper says, if it weren't for the lack of bidets, I'm sure Gim would love to trade for the weather here in America. Oh, I definitely love the seasons you guys have. Just not the lack of rear end hygiene. Axiom. My friend who survived surgery. Again, congratulations on having another week of being alive. It's nice to see you here. Always. Hope you're doing better today. Do you know? Knee surgery tomorrow. Oh my. Mystic says still find his reaction to that funny to this day. There's so much I want to say. But I can't. Like generating brown powder as you walk. Like shh. You know what I mean. Where did the... Gosh, Cha, what is with your obsession with the coin? Action's okay, I see. He just had a piece of candy stuck somewhere in his tummy. It's back. So do you stream full time? Pretty much, Dark. Hi there, Alex. Your favorite Nova? Who's your second favorite and third favorite Nova then? Because if I'm your favorite, there must be a point of comparison, right? Brown. Can you imagine that, Zlan? That's why I don't want to sit in any American chairs or country that doesn't use a bidet. Because there will most definitely be what I would call microparticles. And I sure as heck know those ain't cookie crumbs. Mystic says, long story short, chat, he went on a full tangent. It wouldn't have lasted for hours if we didn't explain it wasn't the norm. Quite the culture shock, that's for sure. Oh my god, Axiom, don't die because of a candy. Worry not, he'll survive. He's too nice to die. Why are you so smooth? 60 FPS is the key. Try streaming in an optimized world. Yeah, it's my best advice. Good morning, did you? I most definitely know it's morning, don't worry. What's that? Okay, I need a bit of a stretch, chat. Upsy daisy. Righty, where were we? A good day to you, Jax. Do I know Vaporeon? Yes, I do. My friend Mystic showed me a Vaporeon avatar with features. interesting features. Props to the avatar creator. Axiom says survive is a strong word. Should I say live? Persist. Oh, was it Vaporeon? No, Vaporeon's the water one. Glaceon was the ice one. So Mystic showed me the ice one. It was really cool. It really was. It was what I would call a learning experience, most definitely. Vesper says certain features that I was sort of stuck seeing because Quest being Quest. Ah, yes, when avatars that are multi-platform don't have their parameters synchronized, some toggles will remain enabled on one platform while it's disabled on the other. Gotta show the ice abilities. It was cold to the touch. Oh, hope your day, Gib. Oh, I'm more of a night person, not a day. I know it was a typo, Donnie. Ah, yes, chat is curious about my tail. Yes, chat, I do have a tail. I like how we're being punny with this, but that means more practice. Will you be in VR chat later, Mystic, or are you gonna go sleep? Nighttime is my time to wake up. You and me both, Marsh. I have no idea how to read that. How are you doing, by the way? I'm okay. Nothing special going on here. Why? Thanks for the roses, Swaggy. Shadow Flare. I know, you guys are curious. There you go. Tail. An angle that not most of you get to see. Because you are always so used to just like, oops. Being like cut off from here. I was about to hop on till I saw your stream actually. Huh. There's always the post-stream hangout, Mystic. You should know this. More often than not, I hang out with Vesper, I hang out with Wolfie, sometimes Mecha's there, then you're there. The tail is... My tail is still very much there, chat. My day's been going okay. Hello? Where's my top view? Oh, is it this one? Oh, I see. Okay. Oops, now it's clipping to the chair. Nice. Everyone's attached to the thing. Mystic wants me to drink. Where? Oh, that's a problem. I don't. Aha! I have a bottle of water here. Wait. Where is Vesper? Vesper is still currently working. Wow, this bottle is tight. How long has that bottle of water been there? Probably 30 minutes. No, 40. I filled it up before stream. Oh man. Whew. Give me your money. I'm the poor one here, Gojo. Help? Help you in what? That looks funny, the invisible bottle that I just had. Hello, hope everyone is doing alright. Hi there, Wolfie. Welcome to the stream. Oh, it's nice to see you. 4 sits there with face tracking, full body tracking. I'm using the cheapest hardware available. Whatever works. Such is the nature of a penny pincher such as me. Can I dance? No, not right now. With Wolfie being here, I wonder if the night's gonna become interesting with a little game later. Who knows? Possibility is always there. We'll see, chat. Hi there, Philip Studio. Oh man. Am I feeling the after effects of the Indian food? That's not good. Oops. That's not good at all. Now let's move here because if I click behavior and like look at me. Oh, it goes up. Okay, never mind. Whoops. Let's just put it back there. Okay, what's this? Well, have you ever stubbed your toe while doing VR chats? I was walking and then oh! Yes, I have. Especially when like doing the soaring fitness. So sometimes you gotta jog in place, right? And inadvertently, I don't notice I'm like starting to jog forwards and I hit. This is a metal post. This is one of the things supporting my loft bed. So metal post plus those, they don't go well. It says Vesper says I've hit my nightstand just joining Gibbon's stream before. Oh yes, I have a video on TikTok about you hitting it not once but twice. Can you sing? I most definitely can. Will I sing? No. I love your character design. Well, thanks, Scalar. Oh, it's a bit dark, huh? What can we do? This room isn't exactly illuminated brightly. Why not? Because this isn't a singing stream, chat. What's this? Why not? Cause I can't. Not now, chat. Oh yeah, good on you knowing the song. I think the darkness is perfect. It's just the right amount of easy on your eyes. Geb, I'm under your chair. Well, stay there. Alex says, so quiet. Just be a chill person. Right? You know what's funny? The top streams in VR chat are actually from people that don't say anything at all. But yes, it's from that dancing e-girl that I saw prior to stream. I was like, I wonder who's top in VR chat tonight. And then I was like, oh, okay. Not even a single word uttered, but they have over 1,000 viewers. Your tail is so lucky it always goes through the atoms of the chair. That is what you call intangibility. Yes, it clips through the chair and stuff. If I could make it like collide with the meshes in the world, that'd be fantastic. A lot for a mute streamer, right? Imagine you have over 1,000 people just watching your content. Now, to be fair, she had barely anything on and she had some rather interesting camera angles going here, there, and then she was like, shoo. And not something I would do. Where are you from? I'm from the Philippines, chat. Alright, go ahead. Anong katanungan? Not even if chat wants it, I'm not gonna do it. Hold on, let me just deal with chat real quick and you are gone. Hence, Geb is a shadow. He can be solid or choose not to be, so his tail can go through the chair. That's true. Super Cool Boy says, Geb, help, the coffee is murdering my tummy. Well, question, who made the coffee and who decided to put the coffee on their lips and swallow? The green fruit tastes good, says. You're so cute and your voice is so sweet. Sweet? Thanks. Vesper says, stop drinking coffee, it gives you issues. That's why I stopped drinking it. That's true. Did you know I get like jitters from drinking coffee? What is your favorite movie of all time? That's... Good question. Lord of the Rings, probably. Predator, The Terminator, 1, 2, maybe 3. No, there's definitely gotta be. It's either Step Brothers, The Dictator, Borat, Talladega Nights, Beverly Hills Cop, Shanghai Noon, I'm citing all of the comedies at this point. Vesper says Geb was witness to the anxiety associated with me drinking coffee twice a week just to get through my 8 a.m. classes. Good. See you around, Nika.
I greet the dawn when I awaken. The sky is clear up above. I like my scrambled eggs and bacon, served by someone that I love. Life could be thrilling with one who's willing to be a farmer's wife.
Talladega. Yep.
Would make me happy. Give me the simple life.
I could pay you to hear you read the B movie script in Tagalog. You know what's funny? In this February, I'm going to be launching a monthly membership where part of the tiers is you can make requests on the material I'm gonna read. But me reading things in Tagalog is a bit of a stretch. Might be outside of the scope of what I'm gonna do. For me, the favorite movie of all time is Avengers Endgame and The Last Samurai. Ah, good choices. To be fair, I think Avengers went downhill ever since Iron Man died. That's it. It's crap. I'm not interested in any of the series. I'm not interested in any of the new heroes. The Last Samurai with, was it Tom Cruise? Oh, Loki. That's an exception. I loved Loki. And Deadpool, of course. There's that. But the She-Hulk, the what's that? The Miss Marvel, whatever. Ugh. To be fair, I did watch Luke Cage before but because I was bored at work, I didn't have anything to do. So I said, you know what? Let's watch a series. And yeah, I surprisingly finished Luke Cage. Not Iron Fist though. The bulletproof muscly dark-skinned guy. Hopefully the new Shang-Chi movie. There's a certain charm to the Shang-Chi like stuff because he's funny. He's funny. Along with like his best friend, right? Like that girl. Are you Pinoy? Yes, I am. If you think Last Samurai was a good movie, you need to watch Amistad. It was about slavery back then. Or yeah, it really opens your eyes. And then on the flip side, you should also watch Django. Django Unchained. Oh, Shogun looks great. I just have to find the time to go watch it. Vesper says even the Spider-Man movies went downhill, honestly, and I love Spider-Man. The last Spider-Man I watched and loved, was it Homecoming? Where Andrew Garfield was there and you know the three Spider-Men, the Amazing Spider-Man, and then the new one, and then Tobey Maguire was there too. No Way Home. No Way Home. Yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home. When I saw him come out of that like portal, I was like, oh my god, that was an incredible sense of like both nostalgia and amazement. And then they met. Oh man. Kasi oh shoot. Because you kind of know that's gonna be like their last hurrah, right? These past heroes. Unless you're gonna make another one featuring them, then that's cool. For me, in all honesty, those three are the only like real Spider-Man. Like I guess it's because I haven't watched like Into the Spider-Verse, but eh, it gets kind of hard to get attached to so many Spider-Men when you grew up just loving one, maybe two or three. And then William Dafoe. It was William Dafoe and Doctor Octopus. Hey, Peter. Bud, you're bored. Nah, I'm okay, Kimmy. King's cat. Man, it's only been an hour and 15. Chat, we're not gonna stream super long today. We're gonna go probably 2 hours only. Well, I did not see it as a question. You should probably learn the use of proper punctuations. See, you could have said bud, comma, you bored? Question mark. Commonly, you pick up these things if you have enrolled in primary education. Elementary, probably. Axiom says, Geb, we're gonna watch What If and no worries. That got me kind of back into the MCU. What ifs are always interesting. Because of the plausibilities, the scenarios. Elementary, Watson. Unfortunately, I am not the intellectual / sophisticated detective. I'm more of a wisecracker. Yes, I talk my way into getting things. Yes, what's up? And everything I just said went over King's Cat's head. Hmm. Now, why would I want to do that, Viridian? I really need to remove that damn bean cam. It's to my detriment. Imagine I'm in a comfortable position and then I have to indulge chat. Okay. Pin 3. Let's work with that. But Gab, do it for the beans. I know. It makes you guys happy, right? Vesper says, yeah, I loved Spider-Verse for the stylation. And the time I watched Into the Spider-Verse for the first time, I was 13 and related a lot to the awkward Miles Morales. 18 the time the next one came out. Almost 20 now. I probably didn't watch it because if you saw Black Panther being portrayed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, how would I, to be fair, I would watch it though. And especially if it was Ryan Gosling, I would watch it. I take my statement back. Somebody say beans. Huh? Yes, as I'm crossing my leggies. Alright, hi there, Cass. It's fun micromanaging, chat. Nature's Idea. Wow, you sound like one of those blogs about health and wellness. But yeah, I stream at this hour every day, 2:30 or 3 a.m. plus 8 GMT. That's when I go online. Well, not every day, every other day. So if I'm streaming now, I'll be taking a break tomorrow, and then I'll stream the next day, a break, and then stream again. Yeah, but you're gonna be in VR after stream. Most definitely am. Of course. I post amazing facts about animals and more. Why do you only have 4 followers though? I wish more people would subscribe to content like that. Did you know that the Persian cat actually has hair and not fur? You know, that sort of TikTok. What's your top 10 favorite video games of all time? Now that I think about it, I remember a certain game I played to death. Number 1, For Honor. Oh my god, don't even get me started with how much I had fun sparring with friends. 2, Space Engineers. 3, War Thunder, World of Warships, the Command and Conquer series, which is like the RTS, and then there's StarCraft, Far Cry, and shoot, there's so many nice games. What else? Elden Ring, Dark Souls. I wasn't able to play Bloodborne though, unfortunately. I only watched a bit of videos. Please don't stop doing the airplane ears. It's cute. But, okay. Oh, Vincent Wolfie. Gosh, is it that time of the day? Chat, are we gonna be indulged with a little game of chance? Well, Wolfie, are we gonna play? Gas is asking what my persona is. I would be what you would call a Nova Beast. Nova Beast. Command and Conquer is my first strategy game. Oh, Command and Conquer. I love Westwood Studios. Their CGI were no, their cutscenes was not CGI. It was it was like actual like filmed stuff. Hi there, Firebug. Mocap. No, it wasn't mocap. Can I steal your coin? Unfortunately, Horus Sayo, I guess is your name. I unfortunately need it because I am about to go have a little wager with Wolfie, it seems. Any thoughts on how 2025 is going on so far? There are gonna be lots of fantastic games this year. Monster Hunter Wilds is my most anticipated one, which is less than 2 months away. So gather up your friends, persuade them to buy the game, and if they can even run the game. I'm so looking forward to hunting. Where I'm gonna have Wolfie, I'm gonna have Vesper. That's for sure.
The stars all seem to know that you didn't mean all those sighs. The night that you told me those little
What else? Oh, I've played Subnautica. Have you finished it? No. Do I watch Queso play it? Yes.
evening appears. I sigh, but there's no regretting in spite of my tears. The devil was in your heart.
I'll see you around, short cat.
In your eyes.
Have you heard of the game Homefront? Homefront. I, that sounds familiar. I think it's Doom with the Dark Ages. Oh, color me curious. Not really. Oh, not really. Vesper says we're human anyway. We're resilient, so even though there's a bad day, there is bad that may go on. I'm sorry, that there's bad that may go on. Chin up and keep going. Doesn't seem terrible so far. You can say that, nature. Sure, why not? Memo says, I'm getting my Western Digital Black SSD to play Monster Hunter Wilds. Finally get rid of my hard drive. Oh, good. You need to upgrade. Vesper here got her upgrade early. Thank goodness. Why? Thanks, Momo. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to get really comfortable in this chair. It's comfy. Have you seen Dishonored? I played a bit of it. It was. It was okay. Then walk around. You know what? That is actually some really sound advice. Let's go stand up, chat. Gosh. Okay, where were we? I know I'm not gonna fall asleep, chat. Don't worry. To be honest, just a little bit more of leaning back in the chair and I would have fallen asleep. Oh gosh. We can't have that. Welcome, Capybara. I heard you're like one of the friendliest animal species there are. Hi there, Kwang. It's been a while. Sorry, something came in between. Well, what do you know, chat? It seems like we're gonna have a little game of chance. Let's just go get my coin. And let's go indulge Wolfie, shall we? Though I have a feeling I'm not gonna do so great today. I really have a feeling. My luck is about to run out. But there's but only one way to find out. Right? And that's playing the actual game. So, Wolfie, ready whenever you are. Is it gonna be heads? Is it gonna be tails? Pick your side, friend. Lone Wolf votes for head. Okay. Pause. Wolfie, are you 100% sure? You want pause? We all know how pause goes. Hmm. Wolfie commits with a yes, which means chat that leaves heads for me. Now, if you want to join in with my little game of chance, then now's the time. And also, I need to plug in my headset. It just unplugged. Oops. So, take your pick. Heads or paws, chat? Let's see. How many of you think is one side gonna win? Also, I can't. Boop. Where's the damn charting hole? There we go. Ba-bam. Oh. Not charging. Boss, come on, Wolfie, says chat. Okay. Alright, so Kisser is going with pause. Pause for SG47. Memo goes with pause. Momo and Firebug goes with. Wait, what? You flip side there, Momo. It seems like we have a good 50-50 split between what you expect to be the result. Alright, chat, let's not prolong things. How about we go play? In 3, 2, 1. And so we flip. Oh my, I didn't even do the zoom in camera because I was standing and I forgot. Chat, what do you think the coin landed on? I think you can take a guess. Did Gab finally lose tonight? There we go. Sorry about that, chat. My headset turned off for some weird reason. But yes, where did I cut off? Chat, today, it landed on none other than heads. Ching. Well, we all saw where and how it landed, so congratulations to you who voted on heads. And better luck next time for you who chose pause. You know, we can always try for a second one. Does anybody else want to join? You see, it's on heads, right? Let's try flipping it. Chat, it still landed on heads. Let's do it one more time. Just for the sake of statistics. This time it landed on pause. So we have like a 20% chance of landing on pause. Goodness me. SG47 says, Wolfie, I will never follow you again. I'm sorry. At least now you know which side to pick, SU. Oh, I there you know, huh? Oh, I did, Hannah. Wolfie. Thank you for always playing the game with yours truly. Always such a joy to have you indulge in a little fun. Sir Isaac Newton shared the life. Goodness me. Oh, hi there, Lishka. Good morning. Surprised to see you on stream. Oh, rather more glad to catch you here. I'm doing okay. Surprisingly, my little headache, as my friend Kakarot just described it as cluster headaches, haven't flared up, which is fantastic. 50 hours has passed. Oh my. I don't know why that's funny. Gab, you're moving. Oh, yes, I am very much not a paraplegic. I can move. See? I bet you haven't seen the back of my coat yet. Sorry. What do you mean Gib doesn't move? What do you mean I don't move? I always move. I just sit. That's what I do. Firebug says, I thought it was obvious that you were not paralyzed because you kept on moving your feet to different positions all the time. Gab doesn't skip leg day. I definitely have legs that I don't neglect. And I'm from the Philippines. Nice coat and tail. Thanks. I like to keep things simple and classy. Elishka says, sorry, I was just surprised. I didn't expect you to be standing. Well, it's a breath of fresh air, isn't it? Gabus, the ever so mobile. To be fair, I find this a bit weird because I normally don't move so much. And now I'm rather animated, right? Thanks. Should I do this more often, chat? Do you like seeing me move? More interactive. Or do you want me to go back and just sit down? The usual. Oh yeah, did I miss something from Twitch chat? Momo redeemed bad life advice. I'm sorry, Momo. I didn't notice that. If you feel lonely, alright, I'm not gonna read that. Capybaras are just oversized guinea pigs, says Vesper. I sort of agree with that. Now I feel smaller than I already am. I'm not super tall. Hey, look. Nothing special. If I forgot to eat and sleep and pray. What's this? Chat, to those curious, I'm only 6'1" in height. There are much taller people like 6'5", 6'6". My height is nothing impressive. Can you sit? Yeah, sure, why not? Where's that camera? I'm so confused with the cameras. Do you want me to go sit on this chair as usual? Alrighty. Are you happy? Where am I facing? On the left. Oh. Yeet. My sister's boyfriend is 6'7", says Firebug. See what I mean? Chat, there are some really tall people around. I'm nothing. Whatever it is, says jazz is great for studying. It's awesome, isn't it? You can just have me open in the background, yapping and talking. Height isn't everything. I agree. It's how you use it. Your body. That's what I meant.
Let's build a stairway to the stars and climb that stairway to the stars with love
Is Vesper in chat? I do believe she is, Ilishka.
fill the night with a song.
He took a seat. Life is meaningless now. What do you mean? I can't rest my bum on the chair. It's the person inside that matters, says the green fruit. Agreed.
Where the blue begins, the moon
No problem. Understandable. Vesper's gonna be busy too soon, chat. She's got school. Vesper says, yeah, I was just untangling necklaces since someone's kid tangled all the Valentines. I hate it when they do that.
on a lazy daisy petal high over the river.
How old is Gebus? Again, I stopped counting the years past 27.
And we sail away on a little dream and settle high on the crest.
Wow, how did I climb up to 43 viewers? Is it because I've started walking around from just sitting? Interesting. Is this jazz? Yes, this is jazz.
Stairway to the stars.
It's nice, isn't it? Walking is the answer. Hmm. To Twitch, maybe, but my TikTok is still 49 viewers versus 43. That's so new. Donnie is redeeming. Any advice if my friend says Wild is a bad game, bad life of It's simple. Show them the joys of Monster Hunter Wilds, but in real life, you go toss them out into the forest at night, hopefully one populated by wild boars. Perfect for beginners to hunt and see how he fares without a weapon. Does your legs not hurt from standing so long? Not really. I just find sitting much more comfortable. That's why this is my preferred position.
Embrace the breeze tenderly.
Are you using a Mythic Quest? Yes. Maybe it's your cute face and the chill atmosphere. On average, I only get like 20 viewers. I'm surprised it's... Well, I've hit double that. Gosh, thanks, chat. I'm glad you're interested in my content.
In a
Yes, chat. I'm gonna say it again. There are actual VR chat streamers that have content like this. Just classy music and conversing with the camera. Why, if it isn't Luna. Hi there.
I can't forget
Another Nova Beast.
how two hearts met breathlessly. Your arms open wide.
1 hour and 15 minutes to reach the 3-hour mark. Since when did I say we're gonna reach 3 hours? Firebug says, honestly, when I stream, I prefer talking to the camera and chat. Well, that's what I resigned myself to doing. Early on in my streaming... Wait, hold on. This late is a bit loud. Early on in my streaming days, I was your average VTuber. I was on the right side of your screen, like down here, and then I was playing games. I could barely focus on chat because all of my attention was focused on trying not to be riddled by bullets by the enemy team. I was playing Battlefield back then. And I had what, 3 viewers tops? That didn't work. The VTubers playing games are a dime a dozen nowadays. And then you know what I said? I'm just gonna stream while focusing 100% on chat. And there you have it. That's what I'm doing now. I like it. I am having fun with it. You guys are having fun with it. Getting a streamer's undivided attention. It's good, isn't it? Mystic says, it just takes time to find a diamond in the rough as far as VR streamers go. Yeah, I kind of fell off the algorithm after June though, or July. Can you believe? Sorry, we're talking numbers here. Back then, I used to gain like 500 followers a day. That was for a good month or two. And then all of a sudden, bam, I fell off a cliff. I don't know what happened. I lost a bit of hope back then, but then I said, you know what? That is the nature of streaming. It's a volatile industry that you've entered. And my best advice to streamers is always pretend like you're in a room full of people whenever you stream, regardless if there's 1, 2, or even just 3 viewers. Stream like you're streaming the best you can all the same. Oh, he says 2 hours. I don't know. Rocky says Nova best. That is the most wholesome and positive comment I've ever seen. Condensed into one word. Oh, so thank you, Dylan. Nice play of words. Completely agreeing. Nova best. You gotta be your very best. Like no one ever wants. Elishka says, oh Gip, I'm really glad you're streaming today because if I were to do it yesterday, I wouldn't have been able to join at all. Well, here you are now. I'm glad you're able to enjoy the content. Firebug says, honestly, when I see your streams, they help me relax from a very, very long day at work. Well, tip jar is over to the left. I'm just joking. Hi there, Drummy Bear. What? Vesper says, they just want me to help with online orders. I was scared for a moment there since usually nobody speaks to me. It seems they need your skills. Man. What's the funniest thing you can think of in this moment? It would probably be XQC screaming in fear while he was playing that game where there was like boars or pigs in this like weird house. He is funny. Either that or Queso. Queso, whenever he watches his AI videos, it's hilarious. Vesper says, I don't exist until I'm convenient. Nah, you exist in my heart 24/7. What are you talking about? Oh, hello, Yami. What are you doing here? Sorry, my cat. The queso burger quiz. Yeah, it's rolling around. Hello, son. Yeah. You see how I'm moving my feet, chat? Below there is a cat in real life. I'm just rubbing it over his belly. You like that? Yeah, yep, he's just lying down there, flopped on the floor. Hi, Yummy. Hmm? What's up, Yummy? Okay. Anywho. Oh, Wolfie is gifting 3 months to Vesper. Gosh, oh gosh. Thank you so much. Vesper gets to use the emotes now. Always the ever so generous patron and good friend. Thank you again. Or as Queso would say, yo, can we get a W for Wolfie for the 3? I can imagine the cat. Yeah, he's gone now. He had cat stuff to do. Firebug says, is it bad to think I have too many emojis from too many different streamers? Not really. I think having a lot of emojis is just like collecting stickers. How do you do that? Do what, CubeZone? This? Go to YouTube, type how to be a VTuber. That's all you need to do. I open Twitch to check things and I see you. I open chat to check things and I see you, Terry. VTuber. VTUBER. Good morning, Lindsay. No problem, CubeZone. VTuber. Bzz. No. What breed is my cat? My cat is actually a stray. He is color black. I picked him up off the streets around 5 years now. Well, 5 years ago from now. That is solo ban. Not really. Because if you look closely, I'm not exactly like bald. Where's my back camera? It's a bit hard to see. Notice I have like little tufts in the back. See? Not 100% manless, just very, very short. So yeah. I like to call it neatly cropped. Because having a full mane as a Nova Beast, not only does it look bulky, it's actually really hard to manage. How do you think will I fit it inside this coat? Imagine a give with a low taper. No. Drop a follow before I go and check things. Catch you next time. Well, thanks, Terry. It's so round. What? The thing in my pants. My coin. It definitely is round, isn't it? Can you put your goggles on? What do I get in exchange? I imagine Novas need special shampoo. Oh, I bet they do. I think this special horse shampoo called Mane and Tail will actually work for them great. Is it morning there? It's currently 5:09 a.m. Yes. How do you get face tracking? Uh, well, one, you need the hardware for it, definitely. Geb with goggles on. I mean, do you not like my aerodynamically shaped dome? What else would I be talking about? Are you really flipping the coin? Yes. Grip. You. Thumbs up. Catch. Rinse and repeat. Oh yeah, I did. I saw it on Twitter. It was interesting. It definitely makes things viable. The thing is, what software are they gonna use for it? I didn't translate the article. Uh-oh. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm glad actually such technology exists because it gives good accessibility to those without face tracking. Happy streaming. Thanks. Is your Nova Beast your first Sona? None other. You stood up. I most definitely did, haven't I, chat? No, I don't use other avatars, Ria. Unlike others who keeps on changing their form, I like to stick with one. How can you remember somebody who changes his face every other day? Right. I have a job interview today. Let's take a quick look at your photo, Lily. You may want to wear different makeup for the interview. Good luck. Hi there, Queen. If the Nova Beast didn't exist, what would you be? As of now? Funny enough, I actually made my own avatar. If you've watched my old TikTok videos. Yes, I made something from scratch. It looks the same pretty much, but just less refined. We can't change our face IRL either. That's very true, Elishka. iPhone or Samsung, it depends on the application. For VTubing, Apple. None of you saw that, chat. Oh, a stretch from Mimo. Alrighty. You know what? Stretchy time, chat. The problem is when I stretch, I inadvertently get sleepy, chat. You know, usually stretching is done well before you prep for bed. So yeah, go stretch. Can I stretch my leggings? Yeah. Yeah, but I think your teeth poke out of your. Oh, that's a little minor clipping issue I have to fix. I have yet to get back to it. I believe that parameter is. I can just cap the blend shape for that.
I long to try something I've never had. Never had no loving. Never had no kissing.
There.
Love a man when
This is John in Silverhand's persona. I wish I could say yes, but no. Unfortunately, capitalism is a necessity in our society for us to function properly. If we go with communism, where everybody has a little slice of the pie even though they don't do anything, that is how we end up in societal and financial ruin.
but no one to love me. Love
I am more of a meritocracy sort of deal.
can you be?
Vesper says, went AFK for a moment and Wolfie gifting me a sub again. Thank you, I was going to buy it myself. Wolfie is,
Like a
let's just say, I'm glad he's entertained by what he's seeing.
I go to bed with a prayer that you'll make love to me.
What is this song?
Strange as it seems,
Is it the angle?
someday we'll
Like,
meet.
Wake up, samurai.
You'll dry all my
We
tears.
have a city to burn. I need to finish Cyberpunk. I have been holding off of the game ever since release because I'm waiting for patch after patch after patch. What's the point of playing the campaign if like there's new fixes and quality of lives like done, right? So I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait until the 5000 series from Nvidia comes out.
Where can you be?
Oh, that is so inappropriate, isn't it, Action? Pretend I didn't say that, Chan. Have you ever hit the wall? I have definitely hit the post of my bed. Hey, upgrade's an upgrade. 100%, 3%, up is still up. If you get disappointed with little victories, then I doubt you yourself can move forward with the little things you win in life. Have you watched the movie Flow? Oh, I haven't yet. What's it about? Color me curious.
of mad
What world is that?
and love
Guten Tag.
more than gay youth was mine. Truth was mine. Joyous free and a flaming light. None soothed
This is so calm. Nice, isn't it? That's a good change from the usual. Hi there, Jonathan. Oh, I see. Also, Chad, I'm unable to monitor my audio. Have I been getting cutouts or distortions of any sort? Because I'm not sure how my Wi-Fi is handling over 15 devices all cramped within a space of 15 square meters. Yeah, Gib, yeah, what? I saw very, very few infrequently. It's rare. Oh, the distortions? Yeah, it's little hiccups in the encoder. That's different. As long as it's like 90% fine, then we're good, chat. Hi there, Mr. Sale. Oh. Well, back to the chair we go. I think it's TikTok, not your Wi-Fi. Oh, is it now? Either way, let me know if there's like hiccups that I may be unaware of. Thanks. Do you know what the leg belt is called on your avatar? That is called a utility belt. Yeah, you're most welcome. Man, it's been 2 hours and 7 minutes. It seems like I'm gonna be able to make the whole 2 hours and a half. There I am going against my word again. No, 3 hours. No. I have stuff to do. Places to be. Oh, hand tracking. Hello. You're too good to us. I actually think I'm relatively mean, as people would call it. Gab working today. I will probably just be in Unity. No Unity work. I'll probably be in bed, that's one. You're not mean, you're honest, says Eliska. That's true. I'm very frank with people. The green fruit tastes good, says no, you have sweet and good heart. Well, I'm thankful you see me that way. I try my best to be as kind as I can, really.
It was only yesterday.
Oh, what the heck is this?
I thought love had come to stay.
No. Why don't you get some rest, says Riz? Rizza or Rizzy? Maybe soon. I'll be here for 20 more minutes, and then I gotta go. If person is not good in heart, then they can never be a good person, says Green Fruit. Agreed. Because it just means they're outwardly good, not good in their core. Oh, what do you know? Thank you so much, Rizzy. Also for the correction in your name. At least now I know how to read it. There, now you sleep. Okay, fine. Instead of 20 minutes, 10 minutes and I go, chat. Gosh, I wonder who's online. Give me a moment to check my Discord. Let me just send this message real quick. There we go. Alrighty. Let's check our stream things as well. What? Do you accept scratches in your ears? Hindi. Ano ako, asshole? You can call me Gib, Mr. Sil. What did you post in the VR chat channel, Action? That looked creepy for a Oh, it's my plushie. Yeah, I saw. And the plushie with the nuts on it. Yes. Fantastic. I'm checking my Discord chat. Give me a moment. That's funny. Okay, let's see. I have a question. Well, go on. What is your question? The new camera perspective is so good. Oh, you mean where I'm sitting? I mean, leaning forward. Thanks. No. How many hours do I have in VR chat? You know, that's actually a good question. I have currently 2,297 hours only. That's really low compared to like other players. I've barely played a year, chat. Why, if it isn't Cameron, hi. Well, what's your question? Go on. Rocky says I have 500 or so hours. Ah, I see. Would you pick dogs or cats? It depends on the context. What? Tongue? What about my tongue? Rizzy says I would pick dragons. Excellent choice. What? Do what? Do you have a dog or cat? Yes, I actually have a pet cat. And other animals, I have fish and shrimp. How to detect the drag? Is that a bird in front of? Yes. I'm opening Firefox. I need to see who is streaming. Is it hard cleaning a fish tank? And is it hard to... It involves a bit of elbow work, but here's the thing. If you have a good set of filters, right? So you set up your aquarium, your tank properly, you won't really run into maintenance problems. Like, I only clean my filters like every month. Repti Rose. Wait, I know this person raided me before. Let's see what content they're using. Well, come on. Yes, I am a dragon type, Indra. Oh, Repti has a lot of fun. I'm a French pink snow leopard that wants. I'm not reading the rest of the description because Axiom's gonna be very happy. Alright. Who else is online? Oh, and Repti Rose. Is there Laura Nova Beast? Actually, Skylar, there are. Well, not a lengthy one that I know of, but their official descriptions would go by like Nova Beasts are dragon-like beings, and they are denoted by their rather large tails and manes, which I clearly do not have. Do you have wings? Unfortunately, unlike my companion Vesper, I do not have said appendages that enables flight. Sorry, Tao. I was browsing Twitch. But you have beans and goggle. I most definitely do. It's our standard issue for all Nova Beasts, apparently. Lances, I tested the royalty FT. Think I'll swap to it. Hey, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. I heard my name's his action. I'm glad I didn't read the words I just saw. Can you breathe fire when necessary? How is that possible? There's that filter here on TikTok. Chat, I'm gonna say it again. It's not a filter. This is even considered CGI. Or no, I'm in game. I'm in a 3D space. So, questions. It's VR. Excellent answer there, Rocky. It's VR. Where are you from, Rizzy? I'm from the Philippines. Little country in Southeast Asia, in case you're unaware. Do you consider cooking a steak with your fire breath necessary? I actually have fan art in my Discord. I believe it was drawn by another Rocky. It's a different Rocky. So Rocky drew me. I would think I was napping. I was lounging around just like this, and then I had like using my fire breath on a frying pan that Rocky also conveniently placed above to cook whatever Rocky was gonna eat. It was fun. Oh, whoa. Filling orders is more grating than my usual. Ask. Oh, well. It's where you have to type in one of those, they're like the crummy computers. Yeah, chat. 9 more minutes until 2 hours and a half, and then I gotta go. Ilishka says, I love how you did not just say wings, but use expensive word. How is the word appendages expensive?
Well, hello, lads.
Why, Handar with another sub. Congratulations on being here for half a year. Gosh, oh gosh. But Gib, says Memo. But what? Wow, we're having some very European sounding followers. How do I even read that name? Sabik have never mind. I thought it was like a Polish name. I gotta go now, Gab, because I have class. Have a great day. Well, you have a great day doing. Too, and magandang umaga sa'yo. Almost, it's Hungarian. Close enough. No, I can't, Hadj. No, I'm half Filipino. Okay. Oh, do I take a nap after streaming? Seems like a very, very tempting prospect, in all honesty. No, Indra, I am half Filipino and I'm half Chinese. I don't know why, but your avatar reminds me of a shark, says England. Ah, it's probably from the nice pearly whites and the split pattern.
Don't you know I care?
What?
Or don't you care to know?
That's a zoom.
You know
Oh, the narrow depth of field looks really nice.
I care. How could you hurt
Well, go on. What is it?
so? Darling,
When I draw again, can I draw your avatar? Not gonna stop you. If you're gonna post it on TikTok, make sure to tag me, okay?
every breath
Nice aperture, right? I have it like really, really narrow.
will you break
Depth of field, the secret to making things look cool.
or give my heart a break? and where I fit into your scheme.
vr-m.net. That's all you need, actually.
Please tell me, 'cause I'm down to my
Oh, why I clicked the zoom.
won't you please
Oh, this is a nice shot. Hold on, let me take a photo.
love me or let me go?
Good morning, distinguished gentlemen. Hi there, Gummy.
I care.
Chat, I do believe it is that time of the day where I have to go and say goodbye. I have been streaming for a good 2 hours and almost a half. Give or take a few minutes. I can't stay as long because I'm sleepy. I'm glad you guys could join me today. In all honesty, I'm surprised that you guys enjoy my little standing streams. I have to review my footage though because I'm getting a bit of hiccups based on the observations I'm having. But yeah, everybody who's been tuning in has just tuned in. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be in VR chat for a little bit. I'll probably be meeting with some friends. And I will catch you again day after tomorrow. Lovely, lovely Monday morning here. Well, it's Monday for me. It's probably Sunday evening for you guys. So yes. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. And good night. Thank you for all the follows, likes, and shares, and subscriptions. See you again in 48 hours. Bye, Chan. See you around. Yeah, same to you, TikTok. I mean, Twitch. Twitch, definitely. With Twitch, I can enjoy my little zoomed in, narrow aperture shot just like this. I bet this would look great in like a cinema. All blown up. But yeah. Should I raid? Probably not. Bit of a hassle to do. Twitch talk. Yes, Twitch talk. You know what? Let's do one last check. I'm going to Twitch. I'm gonna see what's happening. Yeah, see the VR chat category. Alrighty, let's see VR chat. Mommy Kitsune relaxes you. Okay, it's an eager but barely anything on. Planet Lulu. 100 viewers. Who is this?
An ice cream truck, right? You know that's the guy. Like, it's not some like cutesy little whatever, you know. Oh my lord. Oh goodness. I fully accept a friendly kidnapping. I didn't say friendly. I didn't say friendly.
Oh man. Oh gosh. All right. Half of the panels, the thumbnails here in VR chat, are censored and say may contain sexual theme. Alrighty. We're not opening none of that. I don't see any of my friends streaming, so I think we can safely conclude our stream here. And yeah. See you around, chat. Bye.